Okay, guys, so we've been talking about linear functions and lines and slope, and now we've moved to scatter plots. And you guys made a scatter plot based on your height and how high you can jump. And your scatter plot looks something like this. Now, it was a much nicer spreadsheet on Google Sheets, but we'll go with this for now. So, now we've got this thing that we want to add, and it's called correlations. And you can have a positive correlation or you can have a negative correlation. Now, you've heard me say before, now your behavior is directly correlated to your grades. So that meant there was a relationship, right? So how you behave affects what your grades look like. Well, same kind of thing here. Remember, our independent variable goes on the x-axis, and our dependent variable goes on the y-axis. Now, let's talk about your bank account. Let's say that these are the amounts in your bank account. Well, they're going up, right? Well, if they're going up, we can conclude that your bank account has a positive correlation. And that means that they're increasing, the values. As one increases, the other increases. And so you're going up. Now let's talk about your friend's bank account. Call him George. This is George. George's bank account. And George, he likes to go to the movies, he likes to eat McDonald's, and he goes all kinds of places. He doesn't make that much money. And so what's happening to George's bank account? It's going down, right? So if George's bank account is going down, if this was a positive correlation over here, what do you think George's correlation is going to be? Negative. Yep, it's going to be negative. That's what's going to happen. So George has a negative correlation. That's pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so positive correlation, negative correlation. Positive's going up, negative's going down. So now we're going to talk about my bank account, Miss Blair's bank account. Let's say that my bank account looks like this. It's just going kind of straight across. It's not changing. I pretty much have the same amount of money in it all the time. It's not going up. It's not going down. This is what we call no correlation. Because it's not positive. It's not negative. It's pretty flat. It's kind of like a zero slope a little bit. So sort of like zero slope. Okay, but let's talk about Miss Robinson's bank account. We all know how we like to talk about Miss Robinson. Anyways, so let's talk about Miss Robinson. Let's say Miss Robinson's bank account looks like this. It's just all over the place. There are dots everywhere. Is there any rhyme or reason? No. Are the dots going up or down? They're all over the place. There's no real pattern. In the top example, we were able to see that when your bank account, when stuff was happening on your bank account, it was going in a positive direction, right? Well, and then in George's bank account, George was losing money. And my bank account, it was just kind of flat. Well, what about this one that's all over the place? It's crazy. Well, it's another example of no correlation. Because it's not positive. It's not negative. It's just all over the place. So these are like the 4 types of pictures you could probably see with a scatter plot. So if you got a positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation, what that really means is you have something called a linear association. Well, linear we already know means, of course, line. So that means that when we look at these, if we have a positive correlation, it looks like we can draw a line through our data that goes in a positive direction. If we have a negative correlation, we can draw a line through our data that goes in a negative direction. So it would have a negative slope. So correlation is very closely related to what we've been talking about. We're talking about slope, okay? So then if we look at no correlation, well, I can't really, I mean, I could draw a line through that, but it's not going in any direction. It doesn't tell me anything. And then this mess over here with Miss Robinson, her bank account, her hot mess, hot mess of a bank account. There's really no real rhyme or reason as to what's going on. Like, I can't draw a line through that. It's a hot mess. So positive and negative correlations are talking about a linear association. Linear associations are associated with a line. Lines have positive, negative, zero slope, or undefined slope. So zero slope or undefined slope kind of go with no correlation, which makes a lot of sense, right? Alright, so correlation just means your scatter plot has a definite shape. That's all it's talking about.